These are 4 boulders that are each either rated V2 plus or V3. Since these boulders are at the very peak of my level, if I'm able to send 2 of these boulders or half, then I will attempt to climb a V4 at the very end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Let's see how I do. Alright, this is boulder number 1, and it's honestly been kind of destroying me. I took a few attempts on this boulder before I finally sent it, and this is my first attempt. It's a very, very long boulder. If I fall at the top, it's kind of over for me, and I just couldn't get it on this first attempt. Alright, so here's the second attempt. I just fell, but I was determined to get it this time. I am going pretty quick because I wanted to get to this kind of cruxy part in the middle where I failed the first time. So I managed to actually hit the hold with my hand, but as you can see, I just completely flew out. This was actually crazy, and it made me way too tired to continue. You probably saw my short that I made on that. So I decided to try the boulder again, thinking that I just need to get my feet on these 2 holds right here after I fly out, because I don't really think there's a way to not fly out on that move because it goes from a steep incline to a more vertical incline. So that was my plan this time, and that's exactly what I did. You can see that time when I flew out, it was a lot more controlled, and I was just able to get back on the boulder. And now here there was a kind of tough jump. I was trying to kind of just jump up to that top one immediately right here, but it just didn't work. I don't think that was the way to go, and this is the final attempt that I have on this boulder. So once again, just kind of going through this beginning part, I'm feeling very controlled on this attempt, and I'm feeling very tight and just pretty good. I controlled this jump really well once again. And this time I was able to get under this high hold. Honestly, because of the incline not being so steep anymore, honestly from this point out, it was just pretty easy. And I managed to finally top out this boulder. Alright, so now I'm at 1 out of 4 boulders sent, and that was a pretty fun boulder. I'm glad that I managed to actually send it, and that was probably one of the easier boulders in this video. So let's see if I can flash the next one. Okay, this is such a cool V3. This is an awesome V3. I think this is like the 3rd V3 I've ever tried, and it's just so fun. You definitely fly out right here, and I'm sorry, my camera angle is not the best. I think it was on the mat actually there, but this is a much better one. So you'll see that when I get to this hold above this one, I fly out, and it's kind of like the last boulder. You kind of have to fly out because of the incline. But after I fly out, I was able to actually control where my feet were this time, and I just kind of calmly placed my feet. That's like one thing I'm learning with these V2 pluses and V3s with like kind of some steep inclines. If you can just kind of softly land your feet back on the wall, then that's how you can control yourself when you fly out, and that takes a lot less stress off of me physically, and it makes me more able to kind of just recover from those things, and I was able to pretty easily top that boulder after. Okay, this is the 3rd boulder, and this is a pretty cool V2 plus. So this one should technically be a little bit easier than the last one, but it was still pretty hard. The holes are really small, and I'm not sure if these are crimps or if they're just really small jugs. So comment down below if you know. I'm still kind of trying to learn all of the different types of holds. But this is a pretty fun boulder. It was hard for me though, because I kind of struggle on crimps. I'll be honest, they're not my style, I would say. My style is more like slopers and jugs and stuff like that. But I was trying my best here, and I was just trying to kind of get as high as I could because it's pretty hard to stay on the wall, especially with such small holds. Okay, so on this attempt, after I kind of just jumped up for that hold, I felt like I could actually do it, and I did get to the top here. So I did kind of do it, but I'm not really sure if I actually topped this out. As you can see, I got like one hand, maybe both hands on the top, but I didn't actually top it out, and I didn't actually get both of my hands on the very top hold. And I jumped like from that height, which was kind of crazy. That was a very far jump. That was my friend's reaction. I don't know if it's very hearable, but yeah, that was a pretty far jump. Okay, so that red boulder was a little bit more crimpy. I don't think the holds were actual crimps. I think they were kind of technically jugs, but they were super small, so it's kind of my anti-style. I'm not really very strong in my fingers yet because I'm a new climber, so those boulders are usually pretty hard for me to do, but I got pretty close
or maybe some people would consider that a send, I'm not really sure, but it was a pretty fun boulder and I'm glad that I actually did good on one of those more small hold type of boulders. It was pretty cool. All right, I will say that that was the second to hardest boulder in this entire video, unless I get to the V4s, but the boulder you're about to see is definitely the hardest. This boulder gave me the most trouble, and let's just see how it goes.
Okay, on to the next one. This is a V3, and this one was an overhang. So I am terrible at overhangs, I'll be completely honest. They're very, very hard for me, probably even harder than crimps, just because, as you know, my elbow has been injured. And overhangs are really bad for injured elbows. They just put a lot of pressure on your elbows since you can't put pressure on your feet and like kind of use your feet to hold your body on the wall. So this is really hard for me. I was still trying, and it's also just kind of hard because you need a lot of upper body strength, which I don't really have yet since I've only been climbing for a month. But it was still pretty fun to try out and see how far I could get. So here I'm just like hanging from a hold, which takes a lot of my strength. So usually it's around here, this next hold, where I just can't really hold on anymore. And here I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but I just couldn't grab it. I probably should have planted my feet before, actually. Alright, so here I am at that point again, and this time my feet are on the wall, so it's a lot easier to stay on. That's one thing that I learned about overhangs too. The more you can keep your feet just kind of on the wall, then the easier they are. And I just couldn't really do it there. I think you have to get your feet on those two really small holds and just try to keep them there, but it's a lot harder than it looks for sure. So I made it here again. Let's see if I can hold this position. And I don't really know where to put my feet, so I just try to grab it, and I just couldn't hold it there.
So I just couldn't get that green overhang V3. That was really hard for me. It took a lot of my strength, and I just couldn't really keep myself on the wall. Those kind of climbs are also a little bit tough for my elbow since I injured it not too long ago. But it was still a fun boulder. I'm still proud for trying, and a goal I have now is to get better at overhangs, because those are definitely one of the hardest kinds of boulders for me at the moment. So I was able to flash the yellow V2 Plus and the black V3, which means I flashed 2 out of the 4 boulders that are at my peak level. And so because of that, I did promise you guys that I will try a V4. So here you go.
Alright, so here's the V4, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is above like what I can actually do because I've only been climbing for a month and a half and I'm already trying a V4, so don't expect much on this climb. I didn't get too high, honestly. These holds were really hard to reach up to. So I kind of wanted to just reach up for that higher hold, like 2 holds up from here. And honestly, I probably could jump for it, but it's a little bit harder than it looks. And actually, I'm going to show you another V4 too, because I didn't really try that pink one many times since I just didn't think I could get it. And so here's another V4. This one's maybe even harder to start. But this one, it's really like, I think I have to kind of dynamically start it, because otherwise I'm honestly not really sure how I reach up to that yellow hold on the black volume there after I establish my 3 hands on the one I'm holding right now. It's a pretty hard start, I would say, but if I can get the start, it looks like a pretty doable boulder, honestly, after I get the start, but the start is really hard. Okay, I kind of cheated on the start here, but I got like decently far up the boulder, and even here it was just kind of too hard to hold on.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to say, but subscribe if you want to see me work towards setting a V4. Okay, so as you could tell, V4s are a little bit too hard for me, but they were still pretty fun to do, and definitely V4 is kind of my next goal since I have been able to send and even flash a few V3s now, so that's been pretty fun. I would say right now my style is more slopers and just like easily grabbable holds, definitely not crimps and not overhangs. Those are the 2 types of boulders that are just really hard for me to send, but I'm gonna keep trying to get better at them. I would say the boulder that I'm most proud of was probably, honestly, it was probably the red one. Even though I'm not super sure if I flashed it, I just never thought I'd be able to to do one of those like crimpy small hold boulders anytime soon since I just started climbing. But I pretty much got it, so that was pretty cool. Honestly, I think my gym took down that boulder now, but if it was still there, I probably could send it like actually the right way. So, but anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Comment below which boulder you thought was the hardest, and maybe I'll try some V4s next time. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.